We're in Dubai with De Beers CEO Bruce Cleaver at the sidelines of the Dubai Diamond Conference. So, Bruce, I'd like to start by asking you, what do you see diamond production in 2022 in terms of carats and in dollars? And do you see that increasing going into 2023?
Thanks. So, yeah, great to be in Dubai. In terms of production, De Beers has issued public guidance as to the number of carats it will produce in 2022 and in 2023, and those numbers are roughly 30 to 33 million carats. But difficult to be a bit more precise than that because it often depends on things outside of our control, like weather, etc. But broadly speaking, that's about the same level of production as we produced in 2021, and obviously more than 2020 because we produced quite a lot less in 2020 given the pandemic. So from a De Beers point of view, production will be largely stable over the next 2 years. In relation to global diamond production, obviously our models are based on publicly available information, but our models would suggest that broadly the levels of global production will also be about stable for the periods 2022 to 2023. So I don't think we should expect anything unusual, out of the ordinary, too much, too little. I think there will be a relatively good, stable level of production for those 2 years.
At the panel discussion today, there was this talk about, what appears to be some sort of a rough price bubble, etc. Is there a mechanism that, as a category, as an industry, we can evolve so that diamond prices are sort of synchronized, with the end of chain prices?
Yeah, so I mean, we've had 2 or 18 months of very good growth in the diamond industry, following the awful years of the beginning side of COVID. So certainly the first half of 2020 was a terribly difficult year for everybody, particularly De Beers. And so we've had very good, solid demand in the last 18 months. From a De Beers point of view, and I can only speak for De Beers on this, we are very, very careful and very cautious when we price our rough. We try very hard to price our rough in accordance with what we think demand will be after the rough has been turned to polished. As I say, I can't really speak for anybody else, but from our point of view, we're trying to price rough into creating a sustainable long-term industry, and very much based on our latest view of what we think the polished outcome of that will be in 2 to 3 months' time.
During the pandemic, De Beers really took a leadership role, in the way they managed it, managed their personnel, managed the supply of rough. So is there something that can be done in terms of the category as a whole in making sure that the reputation of the industry is about looking after people?
Yeah, look, I think the most important thing for De Beers, and I know the most important thing for the trade, is our people and the safety and health of our people. I think what's also changed, I think COVID has accelerated this, is people are much more interested as diamond consumers in the provenance of the goods that they're buying and in the good that those goods have done in the communities in which they come from. So we're very, very focused at De Beers, firstly on looking after our own people, from a health point of view, from a safety point of view, obviously. But we're also very focused on ESG, which has become the new kind of big word in the world. So we spend a lot of time and a lot of money looking after communities, looking after equality, and looking after the environment, and really being strong on ethical standards. I think everyone in the trade has done a really good job over the last 2 years, but I think it's incumbent on all of us to do more. Because ultimately, to build a purpose-led industry, and certainly in De Beers' case, a purpose-led brand, it's going to be very important that we do the right thing with our stakeholders, and that consumers are happy with that. Consumers ultimately buy brands. We think they buy brands probably more than non-brands, but they buy brands that they associate the values of the brands with their own values. And more of our consumers are millennials and Generation Z, so it would follow, I think, that if they have the same aspirations as we do and we can deliver into those aspirations, we should have a really positive future. So we're very focused on all of this. The trade is very focused on all of this, and I think we've all got to do even more in the future.
So outside of the brands, when it comes to things like artisanal diamond production, etc., is there something that as an industry we can do to ensure, the safety of artisanal diggers and, fair value to them?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I think the answer to that is yes. Actually, in the course of the last few months, De Beers has, for the first time ever, sold ethically sourced artisanal diamonds from our GemFair program in Sierra Leone through our platform. So that's really exciting for me. We've gone in and worked with NGOs, we've worked with government, this is in Sierra Leone, in order to create an environment where we can buy goods at fair prices from artisanals and then sell them and bring them to market in a fair and ethical way. And I think it's important for all of us. We need to try and help in our own way to improve the lives of artisanals. So we're very focused on doing that, and I'm really pleased that we've actually started to actually see delivery of our GemFair program.
So, a lot of the speakers today said that what they were focused on is in developing enduring value for the diamond as a category. So, is doing good in the community something you see as something that can grow the category itself?
Well, firstly, I think it's the right thing to do. So I want to work for a company, and I know we all want to work for companies that actually do good for people. So that's the first thing. But as I said earlier, I think there's no question that consumers are starting to ask these questions more and more, as they should. Host communities, people who host us in the countries in which we operate our mines, we are there because they let us be there, and we want them to want us to be there and encourage us to be there. That way our social license to operate is so much stronger. So as I say, I think this is a good thing to do, but I think ultimately it's going to be a good thing for the brand. I think consumers will like it, communities will like it, and as I said earlier, it's a good thing to do. So I think this is kind of a win-win situation for everybody.
And as a category, as an industry, we get impacted by negative happenings, all around the world. So there's some worrying stories about conflict diamonds again. What can we do as a community now to try and really stamp this out?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, of course, good news is harder to tell than bad, and so we all need to work harder at telling these good stories. I mean, the fact is, diamonds have built countries in Africa. That's how amazing they have been. The Kimberley process obviously was the first way of ensuring that 99% of the diamonds in the world are ethically and responsibly sourced, and it's really important that the Kimberley process continues to do its good work. We as De Beers are making great strides, though, in going much further than that. We created with the Code of Origin program a system where you will know that every diamond you buy from De Beers has been responsibly sourced in a way that you've known before, but it's being delivered in a much more powerful way, and it is linked to our blockchain program called Tracer. A significant volume of diamonds and value of diamonds are already on the blockchain, and that will be the best way of showing a consumer that the diamonds they've bought have done good, are ethically sourced, and will continue to do good. So I think we've all got to do more. I'm excited by the things going on at De Beers as to how we're going to elevate this at De Beers. But I come back to the base piece here is the Kimberley process. It's really important we all contribute to the Kimberley process as it evolves, because I think it's important to bring that kind of confidence to the whole diamond consuming community.
And finally, do you think we're back at the stage where we really need another umbrella campaign like you used to do? It really worked wonders for us.
The times, of course, when we did these big umbrella campaigns where our market share was so much bigger, and obviously we've evolved to having a market share that is considerably less than something where we can, fund a program that's for the good of the whole industry. But we've worked really hard. The Natural Diamond Council, which is a thing we were involved in the creation with El Rosa, is a really powerful way of the industry co-funding programs that will talk about the good that diamonds do. So I suppose the answer is a bit of a hybrid. Brands will continue to evolve, and we will certainly continue to invest in brands. But where it makes sense for us to share the burden and the benefit, of course, of more generic campaigns, we'd certainly be open to continuing to do that. So a bit of both, I think, is the answer.
Bruce Cleaver, thank you very much indeed.